Hello.
Hey, CJ, it's Scott.
Sorry, who?
You know, your podcast partner.
No, you're thinking of Scott.
It's time for us to record the second part of that death episode.
Second part. Didn't we record the whole thing in one go?
Yeah, but there were some issues.
Well, that's why I call you the magic Mike of the editing room. Get to work, my good man.
Tried to edit it, and it's just. Remember, it took about 5 hours to do, and
Yeah.
we kept drinking through the 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then by the time we got to the second half,
Yeah.
it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And also, you said there was a problem?
This is me,
And this is me.
and welcome to.
What's my age again?
And welcome to part 2 of Death, the Final Frontier.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping that we might die and not have to finish it.
Alas, that did not happen. Although we haven't edited this yet, so who knows?
Speaking of death,
Yes.
I saw a reel yesterday, and it was this guy. It was like some motivational. Said, "Oh, I could give you if I." Hang on, what was it? It's the worst story ever already. So I can give you $10 million now,
I like it so far.
but you're not going to wake up in the morning.
What's the point of that?
Well, my initial thought was, cool. Yeah, well, you got $10 million. You'll sleep in. But what he actually meant was that you'll have 24 hours to bed and then you'll die. And so the people he said this to went, oh, no, I don't want the $10 million now. He said, so what you're telling me is that waking up tomorrow is more important to you than having $10 million.
Oh, okay.
You know, life is more important. Another day is more important than all the money in the world.
Seize the day.
Yeah. So I thought to myself, CJ, I thought, who said the quote, live as if you were going to die tomorrow, which was apparently Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
It occurred to me, if you lived as though you were going to die tomorrow, that would be a terrible idea.
Dance as if no one's watching. That's okay.
Well, unless somebody's watching. Like, live as if you were to die tomorrow is great advice, as long as you die tomorrow. Because if I was going to die, if I knew I was going to die tomorrow, there would be so many things that could never be undone that I would do. That if I didn't die tomorrow, I'd be fucked.
Let's just, for a start, I think CJ would ring me and say, fuck you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be doing this for a start. It'd be the What's My Age Again with Scott.
I'd have to come online and say, listeners, I regret to announce the death of CJ.
Tomorrow. The podcast will be suspended until this afternoon. Boing, whip, it'd just be a 90-minute episode of comedy noises.
Listeners, for those who don't know,
which would be everybody because we've never talked about it.
When we edit these episodes, I have penchant for putting in weird comedy noises. And CJ hates them with a passion. So the idea of making it like basically putting out a sound effects episode it would not be a fitting tribute to CJ. It would be an absolute slap in his face.
So if you see a new podcast come out called CJ's Comedy Sound Effects, you'll know things haven't gone well for me. But Scott's having a ball. Anyway.
Ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong.
Anyway, the whole live as if you were to die tomorrow is intended to make you, seize the
day. Carpe tunnel.
Seize the tendon. It's kind of intended to make you seize the day, but it doesn't really work. But I also heard on another reel, Jimmy Carr being interviewed, And he actually said the whole livers, if you're going to die tomorrow, it won't really work because you can't do the things that you want to do. But he said if you talk to somebody who's just found out they've got 6 months to live, so they'll have a very different attitude towards life and how they're going to live it to the person who doesn't know that they've got 6 months to live. Which I thought was quite a good way to look at it. So he's the moral of the story for that one for him was live as though you might be dead in 6 months, which I thought was quite good because it takes the immediacy away. It doesn't work for me because there's no pressure because it's like it's 6 months away, I'll be fine. So I won't worry about it until the day before anyway. Which brings us to what we're going to talk about in today's episode. It probably will hopefully come as no surprise, assuming anyone's still listening, that we're talking about death. Actually, I think you said that at the beginning.
I did. Yes.
Anyway.
It was the part 2 of Death the Final Frontier.
Oh, yeah. People have probably forgotten.
After all that shit you just talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What were they talking about? Yes. So in this episode, we will talk about death and dying. I was going to say different ways to die. It's not a how-to. It's not a workshop.
No. Definitely not a workshop.
No.
And we're not encouraging death. We're not encouraging you to die.
No. By either your own or somebody else's hands. So, yes. So if you think you might not cope well with listening to a fucking idiots and making fun of death while trying to get across some reasonably salient points, then you might want to skip to the next episode.
Potentially.
Whatever that may be. Who knows? It might be far worse.
But maybe something will chime in with your thinking. Who knows?
All right. Good. So let's begin by talking about beer.
I like beer because it is good. I drink beer because I should. If there was a song to sing, I sing it and beer you bring. I drink beer when I am sad, because the beer, it makes me glad. Now there's nothing left to say, so let's go drink beer.
So CJ, what's your beer again?
So my beer again is, because we're talking about death, my beer is from Sailor's Grave Brewing. Which is a brewery. Fuck, mate. It's a good start. A brewery in Orbost in Victoria, which is near the Snowy Mountains, which I only know because I looked it up. It's called a lemon meringue cream sour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's.
I know. Yeah. That's. Yeah. I thought that might be a surprise.
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise.
I'm pretty confident I've had it before, and I didn't mind it. And it actually tasted a bit like a lemon meringue pie.
Okay.
So I bought it again. But lemon meringue cream sour. Kettle soured beer brewed with local organic lemons, lactose, and vanilla. Brewed in the deep southeast by Sailor's Grave Brewing, Orbost, Victoria. This beer is alive! Oh my God. And made with all natural ingredients. Always store cold. Don't tell me what to do. Yes, so Sailor's Grove have some quite interesting stuff. They also have, I like them as well because they have a beer called #fucking-thing, which when I Googled them, I thought, I wonder if that's actually what it's called. Or years ago, I'd created a template for a performance reviews, and I hadn't really got the hang of Microsoft Word yet, and so I was trying to create like headers and stuff so all the styles were there.
Yeah.
And at some point, because they wouldn't work, apparently I called one of the headers fucking main header. And I hadn't realized, and my boss pointed it out to me after it had gone to everybody in the company. We said, let's just hope nobody notices and we'll never speak of this again. So, this is my lemon meringue cream sour. It's me opening the can. Sound like a can?
Sounds fizzy. Oh, Jesus.
I'm going to say it spurted on my keyboard, but nothing new. All right, this is what it sounds like. Sounds like a beer pouring. It's quite heady. Looks a bit like a urine sample, but
quite a dark urine. So if that was my urine sample, I'd be a bit worried.
So would I, because I just had a sip of it.
It's quite frothy for a urine sample.
Yeah, it depends how far back you stand.
Whereas I think when you look at my one here, that's a urine sample.
That's a urine sample. Yeah. That's not a urine sample. This is a urine sample.
It's a very much paler colour than yours. That's a urine sample I'll be proud to lay claim to.
Yeah, mine's more of a you need to drink more water. It tastes a little bit lemony. It's about it, really. It's not bad. See, it's only 3.5%.
Okay.
So my body won't even register that it's there. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a little bit refreshing. It's typical sour. A little bit country, a little bit rock and roll.
Okay.
Yeah, it's drinkable. It's going to be one of those things. I'll be finished by the time we finished. What's my beer again?
Yeah, very good. Okay, excellent.
What's your beer again?
Okay, today I'm drinking recycled dinosaur urine.
So you're back to the Aldi beer.
Well, technically, everything we drink is recycled dinosaur urine.
Go on.
Because of the water cycle, all water has been through everybody. Probably we're drinking recycled Julius Caesar urine as well, for all we know.
Right. You usually have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, exactly. But my recycled dinosaur urine has been changed into a beer by PHILTER.
Oh, I like them.
Which is a brew pub in Marrickville. Okay, their slogan is "Seductively Beer." So that's all right. I'm drinking a super cool lager, which their can says this is our new super clean, super crisp, super refreshing, super cool lager. We've brewed it to be extremely sessionable. What does that mean?
Oh, I thought you were going to say to be extremely super. Sessionable means low alcohol, so you can drink a lot of them in a long drinking session.
Fair enough. So it's sessionable with a light malt body, a classic dry finish inspired by the great Japanese rice lagers. Taste the coolness. 4.2 ABV. So it's not that low. But it's not jumping out at me as being something amazing. I don't hate it. It's very drinkable, but it's not like it's not
the worst dinosaur urine you've had.
Exactly. It looks like dinosaur urine, as far as I can imagine what dinosaur urine would look like. If one could collect dinosaur urine into a glass, this is probably it.
I would guess you'd need a bigger glass, though.
I think you'd need an umbrella. But look, it's great. It's really nice. It's the kind of thing you can just sit there and drink all night. So it is session. I think if it's sessionable is the case, it is. It's not like, okay, when we were trying some of your sort of more interesting beers when I was in Melbourne, like you couldn't drink those all night. You drink one and you'd be like, that's enough for me.
Yeah, they were some of them are night-ending beers, no matter what time of the night you've had it.
Yeah. Well, this is not that. And it's quite nice. So, like, if you're expecting it to be a taste sensation, it's not, but it's good. So, anyway, so the PHILTER super cool lager. I'm drinking it tonight, and it may sound like faint praise, but I quite like it.
Okay, I was thinking we can sell them that as a tagline. Like, that's not great. It's all right though. I'll drink it.
Yeah, but you drink anything.
How about we take a break and come back and talk more about death?
Since the first flickers of ingenuity, humankind has excelled in civilization-defining inventions and innovations. Lightbulb Moments in Human History takes a playful and perceptive look at how these big ideas have driven humanity's inevitable rise. Enjoy irreverent yet affectionate glimpses into the lives of ancient peoples. Lightbulb Moments in Human History sheds humorous and thought-provoking light on our common heritage. Available in ebook, paperback, and audiobook, wherever books are sold.
Lightbulb moments in human history, from Cape to Colosseum, can't you see?
So, CJ, getting with the theme of our death episodes, I was looking around and I found something called the When Will I Die Death Calculator.
Did you find the itinerary for my last weekend?
Well, I was wondering whether you'd like to take this test. It's an online test that you can You can answer all the questions, and it'll tell you when you're going to die. Would you like to do that?
Oh, fuck no. Absolutely not. Jesus Christ, why would I want to do that?
Oh, I just thought you could take one for the team here. I mean,
Look, you had the opportunity to die on the plane for when Will Scott turned 60 episode, and you didn't.
fair call. Okay, look, how about I take the test?
Sounds good to me.
Well, will you? I need someone to run me through it. So, will you run me through it? You'll have to do all the clicking and all that.
No, it sounds like a lot of effort. But it means I won't be the one who dies. So there's that. All right. So it's pretty compelling so far. There is always something we can improve on in our lives. We understand some questions might not be easy to answer, but if you know the truth, it is necessary to answer truthfully. I think they've nailed that.
Who would lie now?
Exactly. Take this quiz to find out when you will die. We will calculate your life expectancy once all the questions are answered. Select your gender. Male, female, none of the above. It's a secret.
Male.
Oh, okay. Tells you what percentage of people have answered that. What is your birth date? I've got a problem with this already.
Okay, I'm going to make up a birthday that's in approximately the same year.
Right.
So make it the 1st of the 1st, 63.
So, well, what you'll have to do is just subtract the difference between this and...
So about 6 months.
Yeah, okay. Guess how many people had entered their birthday? 69%. Which,
of course they did.
which makes me happy, but also in my my capacity as a cybersecurity person makes me quite sad. Which of the following best describes the place you currently live in? Large metropolitan or what?
Megalopolis.
No, it's not megalopolis. It's megapolis. E.g. NYC, LA, Tokyo, London, Hong Kong. Small city, Victoria, Edinburgh, Florence, Portland, Burlington, blah, blah, blah.
Probably in between the megalopolis and the small city, but say megalopolis just for the sake of it. Because
54% people lived in the megapolis. How would you describe the shape of your figure? Slim, fat, average, pear-shaped, overweight. Pear-shaped describes my life, not my figure.
probably overweight.
No, you probably, like me, you're a little bit above average. Not technically pear-shaped, but
No.
I'm giving you pear-shaped. Only 9% said that. Do you suffer from any kind of chronic disease? No, yes, maybe, maybe not.
Well, I guess that's for people who think I don't want to tempt fate by saying no. So maybe not is, well, I don't think so.
Okay. So maybe not has also got the subheading, my family has no known hereditary diseases.
Okay, say that.
What type of food do you usually eat? Spicy, greasy, fast food, pizzas, tacos, deep fried foods. Sweet, sour, candy, ice cream, soda, sugary cereal. Salty, chips, bacon, canned soup, bread, sandwiches. Mild flavour.
Probably salty.
My work is primarily physical. Fitness trainer, mover, janitor. My work is primarily mental. Mine's fucking completely mental. I'm a student. I'm a researcher. I'm a researcher. Why is a researcher special?
Because the people who wrote it are researchers. I do a lot of running around with kids, but I guess it's primarily mental. So say that.
Yeah, possibly. So we're saying mental. Okay. How do you usually get to school/work? By bus, by car, I work at home, on bike, on foot, by taxi, I work from everywhere.
I'm at all places at all times.
I am omnipresent. I'm God.
You'd say that when I had a mouthful of beer.
By car?
By car, yeah.
How often do you play sports or exercise? Every day, 2 to 3 times a week, a few times a month, rarely or never.
2 to 3 times a week.
Do you participate in extreme sports? Yes, no, sometimes.
Define extreme sports. No.
How often do you smoke? Cigarettes, cigars, hookah, marijuana, e-cigarettes, vape? I don't smoke, only occasionally, a few times a week.
I don't smoke.
How often do you drink alcohol? It's like I'm not doing this. I don't drink alcohol. I only drink alcohol occasionally, a few times a week, every day.
A few times a week.
70% said they don't drink alcohol.
Liars. I thought it said it's necessary to answer truthfully.
How much time per day do you spend sitting? 0 to 2 hours, 3 to 5, 6 or more?
3 to 5, I guess.
How do you act in problematic situations? I remain calm. I display a high amount of aggression. I tend to panic.
Well, after our discussion about going away, and what you said about me. So I would have normally said I was calm, but
Yeah, they don't have a toddler option.
well, I'd like to. I flatter myself that on the whole, I'm calm.
Okay.
You don't sound very convinced.
Your questionnaire. You're the one who's going to suffer if you're not answering truthfully. What's your outlook on life? Pessimistic, realistic, optimistic.
Optimistic.
How often do you visit your doctor? Once a year, 1 to 6 times a year, which is frequently. Almost every month, seldom less than once a year.
1 to 6 times a year.
See, I wouldn't have said 1 to 6 times a year is free. Like once a year isn't, which also doesn't make sense.
No, because you're saying the
So,
same.
how many times a year? So once a year or 1 to 6 times a year. It should be 2 to 6 times a
Yes.
year. I'm losing my faith in the credibility of this test. Okay.
You don't like a realme.com's test.
How long do you sleep at night? Less than 6 hours, 7 to 9 hours, more than 10 hours?
Closer to 7, but 7 to 9.
Do you wake up very often in the night? That's not a
No.
death question. That's just a curiosity.
Only once for a pee. Although last night I had a weird dream where I was trying to get President Obama to endorse my book, and he kept running away. I found that disturbing.
How long do you usually use your mobile phone every day? More than 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, 2 to 4 hours, less than 2 hours?
Less than 2 hours.
Really?
No, but I tend to be on a computer more. Like most of the things I do on a phone, I do on a computer. So,
Right. Are there any heritable diseases in your family?
So anything that can be inherited, no.
Oh, so heritable's a thing? That's a... Oh, okay. Yeah, I knew that.
Unless you count varicose veins, which I don't think are going to kill you.
Well, they can, because they're blocked. So if something happens to loosen the blood clot that's in them, goes to your heart, boom, dead before you hit the ground.
Thanks for that.
Left-handed or right-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay. Left-handed, right-handed, ambidextrous. They've got ambidextrous, good at using both hands. Keep my right arm to be ambidextrous.
How many people said that?
77%.
What?
Yeah. According to that, nobody said they were right-handed.
Okay. I think there's something terribly wrong with this test.
Thanks for that segue. So I'm not saying that this may not be a scientifically accurate test, but this question is, do you believe that setting up a camera and uploading yourself taking this quiz to your YouTube channel will make you live longer? Yes or no?
No.
Right. You haven't got anything planned for tomorrow, have you? You will live too. The 19th of the 1st, 2038.
Oh.
13 years, 154 days, 14 hours, 0 minutes, 40, 39, 38,
Oh.
37 seconds.
Well, that's concerning. I think.
It's probably not that concerning because the ad that's directly above this is a AI generated picture of Elon Musk with, if you got 12 correct answers in this quiz, you have an IQ above 140.
Well, okay. Can I level with you here? Before I recommended this test to you, I did it myself, giving exactly the same answers.
Right.
And I was told I'd live to 2044. So that's telling you how bad this is. But hey,
it's just lost its credibility entirely for me.
I say, Jade, we better record your ad for your new book.
Yes, my new book that came out months ago called Colin Doesn't Call the Help Desk.
So what are you going to do?
So what I thought I'd do is do a reading.
Oh, that's all highfalutin.
Yes, well, that's what proper authors do. They do readings.
Readings?
Yeah.
Like Charles Dickens.
Hear ye, hear ye. Come all ghosts
I
to...
don't think that's not Dickens.
Okay.
Is it? 'Tis a far, far better thing. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. All those
It
things.
sounds very, it sounds pretty indecisive.
Well, it's sort of the Schrodinger's cat of authors.
I like to see that in a billboard. Dickens' Tale of Two Cities, the Schrodinger's cat of writers.
So how'd you come up with this this novel idea of reading your novel?
Whoa, you're on a roll tonight. I'd like to say that it was something I sat down and thought through and planned very, very carefully. It was more around the fact that when I remembered that we were recording an ad, I thought, oh, fuck, what was the book about? So I pulled it out and then went, oh, no, I'm supposed to be getting ready for the ad. Got the book out, started having a look through it, and went, actually, this isn't too bad. Why don't I allow the listeners to experience the joy of Colin doesn't call the help desk, and it also means I don't have to put any effort into coming up with something new.
Fair enough. You're not going to read the whole bloody thing, are you?
Yeah, Andy Kaufman style. To set up the scene, because I'm not starting from the beginning. I've just picked a spot in the middle. It's essentially around the results of the annual culture survey. The scene is Bob's called the team in to say, I've got the results of the anonymous culture survey. I want everyone to tell me which comments they made. There's been a bit of conversation around, I don't think you understand what anonymous means. It's about having the trust that my team feel they can come to speak to me about any issues they have. He holds his arms wide. Everyone knows my door is always open. You don't have an office, Gina says. I want to be able to create an open and respectful conversation, he says, ignoring her. Not have to hide behind, he lifts the folder, some faceless survey. It's not faceless, Vanessa says. It's anonymous. Just to make sure I'm on the same page as you, Graham chimes in, you're encouraging open and transparent conversation with your team by pressuring us to own up to the comments we made in an anonymous survey. You're making it sound worse than it is, Bob huffs. I'm not pressuring anyone. I simply believe that if someone has something to say, they should feel that they can come and speak to me about it. Seems pretty clear they can't, Graham folds his arms. Let's not get into the weeds on this, Bob says quickly and moves on to the next section. Now, the overall comments have been categorised by sentiment into positives and, well, they call them negatives, but that makes them sound so negative. He looks around the table. I prefer to see them as opportunities for the open and transparent conversation I constantly encourage. He scrolls forward to a picture of a scale titled positive and negative. On each side of the scale are text boxes containing a selection of comments from the survey. That looks pretty good, boss, Colin says, pointing at the heavily weighted positive side. That one's mine, he says. My manager is helpful and supportive. Bob smiles. Well, thank you for that comment, Colin, and for your transparency. You see, he says to the others, it's good to know how Colin feels about our working relationship. If he hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known that comment was from him because, he pauses for effect, it's anonymous. He scrunches his face into an I told you so look, which is why I also don't know who made that comment on the other side. My manager is an idiot. Oh, yeah, that was probably me, Graham says. Although it might have been some other people too. Bob sits back and stares blankly at him. Oh, well, thank you so much for your transparency, Graham, by writing that in an anonymous survey, he sneers. What? Graham holds out his hands innocently. I say that all the time. Anyway, let's move on. The next one, my manager is friendly and challenges me to perform to my highest standards. That's mine too, Colin smiles. I thought these were supposed to be positive comments. Alfred takes off his glasses, looks closely at the lenses and puts them back on. What does it say? My manager is constantly screwing me over when I ask for a pay rise. Thanks for nothing. Well, that one, Gina points to the screen. My manager is great at taking credit for my work. I saw this in my last job, George says. The survey program didn't understand sarcasm, so anytime it found a word like thanks or great, it thought it was a positive. Or brilliant, Graham says, pointing to the next comment, as in my manager is brilliant at pretending he's working when he's actually off getting himself a donut. That's not true, Bob says indignantly. I know, Gina agrees. You're terrible at doing that. My manager is an imbecile, Vanessa whistles. Whew, that escalated quickly. The end.
Oh, very good.
But it's not the end. It's just the end of the bit that I'm reading.
A question without notice. Are you planning to do a audio?
I am planning to do an audiobook. I don't know. I've got to find somebody to do it, though. I'm not going to do it because, as you would have identified from that short excerpt, I forget what the voices are. Forget what the voices are in between doing them. So if I do it, it'll sound as though it's got a cast of about 400 people in it and be very hard to follow. So it's not currently available on audio back, but it is available in paperback and Kindle back. And, of course, hardback.
Okay. I would like to have thought of a back that I could have thrown in there, but I really can't think of any new ones. We've just about run out of hunchbacks, razorbacks, all those kinds of
Yeah, I think we've done Nickelback.
Nickelback. Oh, of course,
Yeah.
Nickelback. Hasselback. Hasselback. I think I was looking through my recipe book and there's Hasselback potatoes.
Oh.
And they're not well enough known to make a joke of, though. But there you go.
I thought it was something that something you did when somebody's bothering you.
I thought it was somebody who starred in movies or TV shows about people running slowly down the beach with red cozies.
It's the protest sign if they remake Knight Rider.
we want Hasselback.
Given that doesn't quite work. Colin doesn't call the help desk. Book 2 in the Colin Calls the Help Desk series, available on all good Amazon bookstores.
On them. In them?
In them? I don't know. So, you've said the way you would like to die is quick.
Yes.
When would be a good time?
Well, what time is it now?
No, because you've got to edit this first.
Okay.
So, a week from next Thursday?
So what you're really asking me, I'm assuming,
is how much you care about marketing this podcast.
What age do I think is a good age to die? Is that what you're trying to ask me?
Sure, why not? No, actually, what I was going to say was we talked about when you're going to die, but we didn't actually work out how old you would be then. So 13 years, 154 days, you need to add extra time onto that.
Okay, that makes me 74.
Okay. How do you feel about that?
I feel that's too young to die.
Okay. Nice segue.
Thank you. It's what I do.
Let's talk about what age do we think is too young to die? That was if we'd scripted that wouldn't have been able to work better. So I did a bit of research. Is there like a generic what age is considered too young to die?
Okay.
Unsurprisingly, it changes depending on how old we are.
Oh, so it is relative to age.
To a certain extent, but I thought back to when Elvis died.
Okay.
And I remember thinking that like he was old.
Yeah, I thought that too.
42. So there's a certain amount of that. But generally, and this is from Psychology Today, so therefore it
must be true.
Unlike your website, it has some credibility behind it.
Whenwillidie.com or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that on an episode of the IT Crowd. Deaths of anyone under the age of 40-something are almost always described as tragically young, while a person who died in his or her 50s may sometimes be said to have died young. The word tragically seldom used.
Right.
People in their 60s are tricky to classify. They're not commonly thought of as young, but they didn't get to be really old either. A death in your 70s is more or less accepted as normal. 80s is widely considered to be ripe old age and a very full life. Anything over 90 is insanely successful. So general consensus was, that was from the Psychology Today article. When I did some research, 70-ish, that's where you start to move from too young to like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. Which is interesting because comparing the Elvis 42 thing to when Lemmy died at 70, I was like, oh fuck, 70? What? That's far too young.
Well, I mean, okay, and when we were talking about Elvis being old, we didn't think it was okay for him to die at 42. We still thought that was young. I mean, we might have thought he was old, but not old enough to die, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, I don't know if I recognised that he was 42. I think it was kind of like Elvis died. Oh, okay.
He was old.
Yeah.
I think there's a real thing, and this is probably a podcast in the future. Anyone you see in black and white, if you introduce to them in black and white, they seem older.
Especially if you meet them in real life.
They're still black and white. No, but think of it. When we were kids and we were looking at videos, even the Beatles from when we were like I was in a kid and the Beatles were in black and white, and they seem like a longer ago than say Led Zeppelin, who are in color. Now there's like 6 or 7 years over a 50-year period,
Right. Okay.
but it seems like Led Zeppelin are more contemporary. Or you think about, all I think about is Elvis is either in black and white in TV footage, or like he's, fat Elvis. He was just tragic then, so like he deserved to die. Yeah. Stop destroying your legacy.
If you're a lawyer who'd like to defend us against Elvis Presley's estate, please contact us at theoldfolkshome69@gmail.com.
Well, see, Lisa Marie was too young to die as well.
Who's Lisa Murray?
Lisa Marie Presley.
Oh, Lisa Marie.
Yeah.
Sorry. Who the fuck's Lisa Murray?
But I think maybe it's just me. One of my favourite movies is a movie called It's a Wonderful Life. It's an old Jimmy Stewart from 1940s. And it looks like it's 1 billion years ago. I still like it, but it looks extremely old. But there are movies like I watched the other night, I was watching with my partner. She wanted to watch Gone with the Wind. I hadn't watched it for 1 million years. And it was earlier than It's a Wonderful Life, but it looked amazing in colour.
Right.
It didn't look as dated as It's a Wonderful Life. It would have. You would have imagined that one was like 10 years or 20 years or 30 years earlier than that.
Right.
So the colour makes a massive difference.
I'd never thought of that. Also, I've never seen either of those movies.
Okay.
I think I started watching It's a Wonderful Life because you told me about it.
Yeah.
What a great movie it was. And I was going to kind of live tweet my thoughts about it
Right.
to you as I was watching it. I'd miscalculated the amount of beer I'd had. So fell asleep about 10 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Look, it's one of those movies. It'll either speak to you or not.
Depends on whether the volume's
What is
working
that?
or not. From what I can understand, without getting into a like spoiler alerts and stuff, but it's essentially, isn't it? He's going to commit suicide, and then some angel turns up and says, "Look what would have happened if you."
Yeah, he's saying my life's been a waste. He could have done this. He could have done that. And no one would care if he died.
Right.
And then the angel shows him what the world would have been like if he hadn't been around.
Right.
And everything's gone to shit. And he's affected everything. So that was, so that was that kind of. And of course, I identified with the person who changes everyone's life for the better. Because that's the kind of narcissist I am.
Well, you did answer optimistic.
But back to the actual podcast.
As you get older, you become more anxious about death. But interestingly, in line with what you were saying, studies show that older adults mostly worry about dying badly. Hang on, I'll read that again. Just possessed by Christopher Walken then. Studies show that older adults mostly worry about dying badly. They're anxious about the process of dying rather than about dying itself, and then worry about the impact that their death will have on those left behind.
Well, actually, I did a little bit of research myself, and there are actually a few reasons about why people think death is scary. And one of the reasons is
the being dead aspect.
Well, that is the fear of the unknown and the fear of non-existence. Okay, because there's the fear of pain and suffering. That's probably what my one is.
Right.
Fear of the unknown, I think I said in a previous podcast, there's a famous quote by Mark Twain that says, I don't fear death. I was dead for billions of years before I was born, and I felt no inconvenience.
I didn't notice.
So we didn't. And that's how I felt when I was a kid. My family would look at photographs from before I was born, and I'd have this bit of FOMO because I'm like, well, I wasn't there. But that was when I didn't exist. And that's what will be like when I die. I will just not be there.
That was when you were dinosaur urine.
Yes, exactly. So I don't fear non-existence. I feel like everyone's going to not exist. I can't fight it, so I might as well. I'm okay with that. But I don't like the way that I come into non-existence, the fear of pain and suffering. And so that's what I don't like. So no fear of the unknown, no fear of non-existence. I don't fear eternal punishment, which is one of the other things. Okay, so anyone who's religious but who's led a bad life is going to fear going to hell and being tortured in the fiery pits of Satan. I don't worry about that.
So there's a sidebar to that. I'm confused about the whole fiery pits of hell Satan thing. Because it's the bad people that go there and then they get tortured.
Forever. I don't know. It seems a little excessive.
Well, it's that, yeah. It's like they've just got this podcast on permanent loop.
That's against the Geneva Convention. Cruel and unusual punishment.
Somehow I can't imagine Satan's lawyer coming in and going, I've got some bad news. What? Geneva Convention said, can't do that. No way we can get around it? No.
I thought you were going to say you can't imagine Satan's lawyer contacting our people and saying, "Can we license your podcast to
Well, they
torture
wouldn't.
people?"
No, well, they wouldn't. They wouldn't do that because they're evil. They just pirate it. They get it off torrents. So aside from those small items, so it's full of bad people who are being punished for being bad.
Yes.
Who's doing the punishing? Because if it's bad people, they're enjoying themselves. So then it doesn't work. The only way it could be the people who are doing the punishing would have to be good people who wouldn't want to punish people. And if they're good people, they shouldn't be there. So the whole thing just falls in on itself.
No, they're the minions of Satan. Hell is their home. They're in their element, so they want to be down there.
How many minions has he got?
He's got millions of minions.
Well, where did the millions of millions come from?
Oh, he just must have put an ad in.
You can't just make millions of minions. And if he's advertising for them, who recruited them? Where did the recruiters come from to recruit the millions of millions?
He got him on LinkedIn.
Actually, yeah, that sounds about right. All right, moving on. Sorry, I interrupted.
All I'll say, the last things in the sort of reasons people think death is scary is a fear of loss of control. Okay, death is something we have no control over, so the lack of control frightens people. That's me to a certain extent, but that's not my biggest fear. My biggest fear is just have the manner, and then the fear of what will become of our loved ones. And I think people like I've proven it to myself that, like, my parents died, I miss them, but I move on. I don't miss them as much as I did when they died, and I remember them. But my life is not much different to when they were alive, except I don't get to see them anymore. But my day-to-day life doesn't change much.
Remember when my mum died years ago, and so like had some time off to do the funeral and grieve and stuff, and then came back to work.
Yeah.
There's one of the guys I worked with who wasn't the smartest guy ever. So he said, "Oh, it's funny, mate, how all that happened, and like we're here at work just the way it was, before all that happened." And I'm like, yeah, what they say, life goes on. And he's, life goes on. Yeah, mate, it does. It does. Yeah, life goes on.
That's so deep.
I know.
How did you think of that?
Well, I said, I just, yeah, I know. I just made that up. He said, "You're wasted here." And I said, "Not yet." Sorry, were you finished? Or?
No, I'm finished. So back on what you were talking about. I got sidetracked on the why death is scary thing.
Right. Why death is scary for me is because death. Because I'm dead. That's the whole thing. Because dead. Because all the things that you said, I've got all those now. I don't need to be dead for any of that. I can tick all of those off already.
But you do exist.
Yeah. Well, yeah, not according to some of the people that when I'm in queues, but.
Okay. Do you fear eternal punishment in the fiery pits of hell with the millions of minions?
Well, if I consider that that's essentially work, it's kind of going into the office.
We're in hell already.
Yeah. It's like I go into the office a couple of days a week. Yeah, so like fear of the unknown and or the others. Like I've got all that already, so I don't need death for that.
Fair enough.
Well, I would probably agree with my point earlier.
I'm glad you agree with your point.
Studies show that older adults mostly worry about dying badly. They're anxious about the process of dying rather than dying itself. Actually, no, I don't agree with that. No, because I worry about the being dead.
So I worry about dying badly. That was what I was talking about before when I wasted your punchline.
And they worry about the impact their death will have on those left behind. That's a whole bucket of death problem. We have talked about before a bad death for you would be being in hospital and hanging on long enough that the whole family had to rush down. And
well, I think I said at that time, it was the whole thing for me is I don't like causing inconvenience to people, and I'd feel like I was wasting their time by making them come and look at me die.
Roll up, roll up. Look at me die. Now you see me. All the audience is going, we don't need to look at you die. We hear it every couple of months.
I don't know where to go from there.
Well, see, whereas I'm the opposite, because like I know that if I'm in hospital and I'm dying and people know I'm dying, I'm going to be going, who the fuck is Steve? What, Steve got something better to do? Is there's something more important than coming in and just checking and going, oh, apparently you're dying. Thought I'd pop in and say goodbye. No. Footy's on. Yeah, can't make it. I'll drop in. Let me know how he goes. I'll drop in next time.
No, in Steve's defense, if you're dying,
in Steve's defense, if I'm the sort of prick who would be doing that, why would he want to be friends with me? The only reason you'd want to come is to make sure that I was going.
No, because I'd be thinking, oh, okay, CJ's dying. He's surrounded by his family. They don't want me there interfering with their family mourning. I better stay away. That would be part of my thought process in that. I would be getting in their way. They want to spend their time with CJ as he shuffles off this mortal coil, and here comes this Steve comes walking in. Ah, CJ, so you're dying, mate. I imagine Steve is like that guy who was surprised by you coming up with "Life Goes On." That's Steve.
Probably, yeah.
But hold on, you died. I thought life goes on, mate.
Yeah, come to see hear that you might be dying soon, so I just come to say goodbye. Does that TV work? Can you get the support on that?
Well, the footy's on.
How are you feeling? Do you reckon you get another 57 minutes in you?
I don't think I'm going to make the final whistle. That's okay, mate. I'll tell you what happened in the afterlife. So back to the idea of age. What's your ideal age? If you had to say, you have to pick an age and go, what age would I be okay with dying? So you can't say, I wouldn't be okay with dying. This is okay. That's not an option.
No. Okay.
Okay. So what age do you think is reasonable that you'd be like, wouldn't feel shortchanged? I'll give you some thinking time.
$413.
A realistic age.
Okay. 311. I don't know, because it kind of comes back to watch me cleverly tie this back to a previous episode.
Right.
When we talked about Dr. David Sinclair making tiny brains in a petri dish.
The first person lived to 150.
Yeah. I was so impressed that I remembered that. I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, that was it. So the concept of that if you're living to 150, it's not as though you're like getting to 80 and your brain's starting to go and your body's starting to crumble, and like over the next 10 years you're in a walking frame and you just get progressively older and weaker and dumber and et cetera, is that you're like reasonably healthy. Like the what's his name? His name I can't remember. The one who did the experiment with the fruit flies for lengthening your the length of life.
Yeah.
Michael Rose.
Yep.
Michael Rose. Yeah, and so his thing is that you can stop aging at a particular. So you might live to 100, but you'll have the body of a 50-year-old in a freezer in the backyard. Yeah, so from that kind of perspective, I can't put anything definitive on it, because part of me goes, I would like to die when I'm completely reliant.
Okay.
So when I'm in a situation where I'm completely reliant on someone else, but just the idea of being in a hospital bed where I'm got to worry about, when's the nurse coming back, and when's can I get their attention to get them to change the channel,
or your diaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I have a very specific time for me, and it's based on.
Based on the death quiz that you just did.
Okay, no, mine's longer than I would not like it to be that short.
That's what she said.
But based on my parents' experience, so that's the only real experience, a close experience I know of people who got into advanced age, and they were both great until about 85, and then
Right.
the shit hit the fan as far as their health. And
We're going to have to stop you letting you change your own diapers.
no, it didn't quite get to that stage for a while. But honestly, I looked at their quality of life and their enjoyment in life sort of ended at about 85.
Right.
And now they were still functioning. Their dad was quite good up until about 89. Mum, not so much. She had a bit of sort of dementia after about 85, but dad was going pretty well. He played tennis till he was 87.
Right.
But his quality of life dropped a lot after 85. I think 85 was like the sweet spot. And if you could go, if I could right now say, okay, you can make it to 85, and then a switch will go off and you'll just be gone. I'd take that. 85 with good health, and then hit the 85th birthday, someone turns off the switch. You don't know it's coming.
Well, you would know it's coming because it's 85.
Well, you wouldn't want to know that you died at 85. Now, obviously, compared to what you're saying, like if there are advances in medicine and suddenly you could get to 95 and be like that, then 85 goes up to 95. I wouldn't just go, well, I said 85. I'm going to stick to it.
Sorry, Mr. Williams, this contract for your soul here says 85.
It boils down to what's the sweet spot. That after that point, my health, my mental acuity, everything goes downhill. That's where I'd like to not be. I wouldn't want to go too far past that, because the other thing, it seems you lose your ability to know that that's happened to you. Because my dad, eminently rational man, but it got to the point where he didn't realize that some of the things he was doing were silly. His ability to reason was not as good as it used to be. To me, I'm scared of that. I can imagine that happening, and not knowing, and then making super dumb decisions.
Like getting married twice.
Well, that's that. You don't have to get to 85 and lose, as you well know.
I've ticked all those making bad decisions boxes.
So anyway, on current evidence, that 85 to me is a reasonable run. Okay, next question. Can you ever imagine actually wanting to die?
Quickly say no to that, because I've got so much FOMO that whatever was going on, it would be, I'm going to miss out on that.
Okay.
Having said that, if I was, in extreme pain, more than when I go to work, that might be a different story. But when would I want to die is if I was in extreme pain and it wasn't going to stop.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
Make me die then.
That's one of the things here on this list of chronic pain, extreme chronic pain, and unbearable suffering. Now, I think, going back to my previous point about dying at 85, I think if I got to 85, if I didn't know, like even if I started to go downhill, I wouldn't want to die. Or the desire to live is so great. No, but I think right now that's perfect, because I think...
Yeah, because it's 20 years away.
Yeah, but no one wants to die. Like if you're thinking, okay, but I'm still okay. I may not be as good as I was, but I'm still okay, and I really don't want to die. So you just keep on keeping on. So when's the best time to die? Who knows?
Because the other fun part about it is that we can talk about all of this. It's completely theoretical and hypothetical.
For sure.
Because I could trip down the stairs going to work tomorrow, and
absolutely, even though you go down an elevator.
Well, I was stuck in the elevator for an hour on Sunday, so I could have died in there. I didn't. Would have shown them though. I'll teach you.
Die in there just to mess up their elevator. Okay, along the lines we were just talking about, if you had extreme chronic pain and wanted to die, would you seek like assisted death?
I like to think that if I was going to do anything like that, I'd do something so big that people were still talking about it 100 years from now.
So you tick yes on the extreme sports thing. On the...
I don't know what you could do for that. That's my goal for work as well. If I ever get fired from a job, I want to be fired. Like I don't just want to be fired for slacking off or stealing office stationery. I want to be fired for something that's so big people are still talking about it 20 years from now.
He was the guy who murdered the boss.
That's maybe a little bit more extreme than I was going with it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you could do from a death perspective on that without it'd be hard to without taking everybody else out.
Yeah, because there's those things where you like they have those kits that you can get, and they're like you take a drug, go to sleep.
Sounds like my Saturday night.
It sounds morbid, and it doesn't sound like an ideal way to die. I've got to tell you, but given the choice between that and a drawn out, painful death, would you choose that? And before you ask, you're not allowed to say you want to go out in a blaze of glory.
Young gun style.
Jumping off the 20th floor of your apartment and splattering on the concrete below.
No, well, that would probably be tempting to kind of leap off, like defective Superman style. leap off a tall building. Yeah, no, I'd probably go I'd go the drugs and alcohol route. Go out and buy 5 bottles of whiskey and keep drinking until my body went, even for me, I can't do this.
You've finally gone too far here. So, could I do it? Here, I'll preface this by saying I don't think anyone knows what they are capable of until they're put in that situation. But I don't think I'd be capable of assisted death. I don't think I could do it. You need something that I don't have, I think.
Yeah, terminal illness.
Well, there's that. But I think I'd be tempted to ride it into the ground. But then I don't know until I was in that situation, knowing how much pain I had to suffer, then I don't know.
Well, I challenge you on that. Mr. Williams, earlier you told the court that you feared a long, drawn-out, painful death for various reasons, citing, if I can just read this back from the court record, I don't know, something about bothering your family and being in pain. So I put it to you that you, in fact, wouldn't ride it out, as you say.
I challenge you back because what I was saying was, when I say I didn't mean long and drawn out, I meant like long enough that you knew what was going on. Like if the time would take you to go from 50,000 feet to sea level in a plane, that time, that 10 minutes or 5 minutes or however long that takes, where you're certain you're going to die, the panic that would happen there, that's what I fear. If I was told tomorrow that I had a terminal illness, that's not the same. Well, I don't know why it's different.
Well, it gives you a much longer time frame with more options, I think, is probably the key thing.
I guess so, yeah. I guess so. But what I was talking about earlier was the plane crash. It was the having the heart attack where you're lying on the ground going, this is it, I'm going to die. And feeling, just lying there, knowing that there's nothing that you could do. Your time is up. It's going to be up in seconds. And it's that realization that death is upon you and there's nothing you can do. Whereas you've got 6 months to live, Mr. Williams, as horrible as that would be.
No, absolutely
isn't
not.
The same.
No, but you were saying you don't want your family hanging around.
No, that's what hanging around my deathbed. That's like in the last hour or two or day or so of your life. That's what I mean. It's one of those things that I'm weird about. That's all. Anyway.
So I think, can we just agree, let's just not die then? We'll leave it at that.
Live forever. Okay, but if we couldn't live forever...
Sounds like you're making an offer.
How do you feel about the disposal of your body?
I couldn't give 2 fucks. Whatever. Do whatever. Probably burn me from the perspective of gets me ready for where I'm going to be spending the rest of my time. But also, so it's the only thing that comes into consideration about my body is I wouldn't want it stuck in a grave somewhere because there's an implied responsibility for family members to come and visit, which is about as pointless an activity I think as you could ever do.
I'm against burial, but I just don't want to rot in the ground. Anyway, my parents they were cremated, and there's a spot for them. They're not in a wall. They're in the ground in a cemetery, and you can go visit their stones, and their remains are below there. I've gone there, and sort of and visited, and it's like, I mean, I get the pointless thing. They're not actually there. Their mortal remains are there, but nothing that actually was them, in their personalities is left there. But yeah, you still can go to visit, someone's ashes, unless you've scattered them into the Pacific Ocean or something.
Yeah, which is what we did with my mum and dad.
Oh, okay. Although you could say that every time you go to the Pacific Ocean that you're visiting them.
True. Well, I actually don't know where they ended up. I was in Lake Macquarie.
So you think cremation, and being scattered in Lake Macquarie.
Fucking absolutely not Lake Macquarie. Jesus Christ.
So I was looking the other week. I don't know why, but there's different ways other than traditional burial. Not like this digging a hole 6 foot deep and putting a coffin in there and shoving it down and putting stuff on top, and cremation. There's a different way of burial where basically they get your body and they tie it up in a bag that was attached to like a sprouting tree, and then they plant the tree with your body in the root system, and then the tree feeds off your body and grows, and people can go and visit the tree.
That sounds horrific.
It does, rather. Call me crazy, but I don't want to spend the afterlife nurturing a tree.
Sounds like the plot for Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Day of the Triffids.
I don't know what the Day of Triffids is about because it was assigned to me as a reading thing when I was in high school, so I never read it.
Of course. Here's the other thing. How about you get the Mr. Scott from Star Trek treatment where they sort of burned his ashes and then put him in a rocket and sent him into space because he was the Star Trek
Seems like
guy.
a lot of effort. He probably would have been much happier if they'd done that before he died. Well, not the burning him, but not the burning him to ashes, putting him on a rocket.
He's burned on re-entry.
Like anything that happens after you're dead is for other people.
Oh, for sure, it is. And I don't know why I'm so worried about being buried because, it doesn't matter. Like, in theory, I could be taken into the Belanglo State Forest by Ivan Milat's grandson and murdered, and no one could ever find me, and my body will just lie in the bush decomposing and being eaten by various bush pests.
Like Ivan Milat's grandson. You're walking in there at night, and you go, "Whoa, hey, Ivan Milat's grandson! It's quite spooky here at night, isn't it? With the moon and the trees and stuff." And like I say, it's a little bit nervous. And he's like, "Fuck, you're nervous. I got to walk out of here on my own."
Yeah, so in theory, you could be. They could die in the Titanic and sink to the bottom of the ocean and be eaten by sea creatures, and your bones would be down there. I mean, what's the difference? You're dead. But still, it does make a difference to my thought processes right now.
Well, it's because you can think about it, I guess. Whereas when you're dead, you can't.
Fair.
Speaking of lots of dead people on the bottom of the ocean, I went to see the Titanic exhibition when it was on, and it was very odd. It was very interesting from a historical perspective, but it was very odd to think that there was so many people had died as a result of it. What was even weirder was that when you left, you had to exit, of course, through the gift shop. The first thing you're greeted by is a rubber duck in a captain's outfit. Directly followed by a Titanic bath toy.
You mean you're saying it's a big bath toy, or it's a bath toy of the Titanic?
Followed, and then when I went, that seems slightly in bad taste. It's then I went, no, this wins. There's a book called Escape This Book, Titanic. Let me read you the description. Activity book meets adventure in this series. That's a choose your own adventure meets I survived meets doodle book. Doodle, decide, and demolish your way out of history's greatest events. The perfect book for fun and educational reading. Reader beware. Once you open this book, there's no turning back. You'll have 3 chances to survive the Titanic's fateful voyage. Decide which path to take first. Passenger. Exploring the ship is fun! Exclamation mark. Just don't get caught on the wrong deck when there's an iceberg ahead.
Exclamation mark.
Actually, there is, yes. Crew member. You work for a family in first class. Can you persuade them to save you along with their beloved dog? And then, of course, stowaway. You snuck onto the ship. Can you draw your way onto a lifeboat? Presumably pushing paying passengers to their death. Oh, mate.
I was listening to a podcast the other day called Dead Talks. The idea of Dead Talks is there's a guy who does the interviews whose father died on 9/11.
Right.
But he doesn't really make much of a deal about that. But he talks to people who've been bereaved or who are facing bereavement. And one of his interviews was with this guy who his wife has been given 10 months to live. And you're thinking, poor guy, his wife's been given 10 months to live. That must be terrible. And I'm listening to this podcast, and the guy's saying, oh, well, my wife said to me that she wants me to not mourn her too much. She knows that I'll move on with my life, and she wants me to make the most of my life. And she said she knew she wanted me to become a realtor in Los Angeles.
And he said, I don't want to become a realtor in Los Angeles.
No, he did not say that. They didn't live in Los Angeles, and this guy, this piece of shit, he's left his wife to move to Los Angeles to become a realtor because she said she didn't want her death to stop him realizing his dream. He's gone, oh, okay, I'll leave you in your last 10 months of life, and I will move to Los Angeles so I can become a realtor. Thank you for your sacrifice.
I don't know. I can't wait. I can't put this off for another 10 months.
It's just like, what a piece of shit. And the fact that this guy who'd been bereaved on 9/11 had to sit there and listen to this dickhead talk about his feelings of loss because he'd left his wife to leave to become a realtor in Los Angeles.
Part of my thinking was, did anybody say, how does the wife feel about having only 10 months to live? Was she part of this podcast at all?
No, all we had was his say so about how she felt.
Right.
Oh yeah, she's very supportive. She's very supportive of me.
Yeah, I'm sure she is.
But he was on this podcast going on basically like he was. Oh, it was very tough for us finding out that she was going to die, and so
it was tougher for me because 11 months from now she's not really going to care, but I'm going to have to carry that weight for a much longer time.
I'm not quite sure where that comes into our takeaway. That's not the takeaway I'd be having from our podcast. My takeaway would be live your life.
Shout out to massive cunts who are on other podcasts.
So that brings us to the end of our epic 2-episode series on death. What was your takeaway, CJ?
My takeaway is to never do a fucking 2-part that involves what will now, I think, is now 9.5 days worth of recording.
Yes, I think that's fair to say. I think we need to be less ambitious or more judicious in a use of time,
or less interested in quality and output.
Yeah,
actually, that's probably a bit hard to do. I think I can be less interested in that.
Anyway, what's your takeaway from all this, CJ?
So what's my takeaway? My takeaway is death is bad unless it's sometimes something good because it's what you want.
Okay, fair enough. That's deep. Thanks for contemplating the meaning of your existence.
Yeah. No, it's probably I think I don't know if you can sum it up more than it's bad unless it's good.
Okay. Well, I let me challenge you on that with my takeaway. Okay, my takeaway is that discussing it openly has actually made me feel better about it. As CJ pours another beer, which can be heard clearly on the microphone.
Okay, I was just thinking. I wonder whether it just sounds like I'm having a pee.
Well, it could have been that, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I actually feel that talking about it's made me go, okay, well, it's almost like the therapy kind of thing where you talk about you bring something into the light, you talk about it, and then suddenly it doesn't seem quite so bad.
You're thinking of Antiques Roadshow.
No, I'm actually serious about that. I think that I actually feel better.
Yeah, okay.
I wouldn't say like hasn't changed my idea that I don't want to die. Don't get me. It's not hasn't been like, oh, thank God we've talked about this. It makes me want to end it all or something like that.
Okay. No, that's the people who are listening.
Yeah, it just makes me feel like it's openly discussing something like this, as much as it kind of be uncomfortable, for me at least, is cathartic.
Okay.
That's my takeaway.
Alrighty. It's slightly more deep and philosophical than mine. Death is bad.
Say goodbye, CJ.
Goodbye, CJ.
Well, I think that's enough truth for tonight. I think we're done.
Thank you, Mr. Trump.
This is going to be shit to edit.